What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And as you can see, I am not alone, guys. I have got the one and only Bront Cat Herder on the channel. Bront, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. It's been fun talking with you. We just got done with a collab on my channel and can't wait to talk to you on yours.
That's right, guys. And speaking of, I'm going to link Bront's channel down below in the description. Make sure to go drop him a sub, give him a like on that collab we just did on his video. It was a lot of fun. It's been a while since we've gotten a chance to chat because I've been doing all sorts of crazy life stuff, including coming out to LA and trying to get sexy and fit again like I used to be when I was younger. And speaking of, Bront, you just shared on your video that you went on your own fitness journey, which was pretty awesome to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down, 80-ish pounds over my heaviest at some point, probably 40 over the past couple of years, and feel a lot better. And it's still coming off, so it's a work in progress. And honestly, it's a lifestyle change.
Yes, that is awesome, dude. And guys, if you've been on your own lifestyle change and trying to get fit and losing weight, let me know in the comments down below. Honestly, the more support you have for this kind of stuff, the easier it is to do. And certainly I've seen that myself with being out here in LA with my buddy working on my own fitness. But today's video isn't about fitness, it's about PvP arena. And well, I guess you could say it's about fitness in some ways, in that the question we're looking to answer here, and I think it's kind of a spicy question, is can you have fun playing arena in Raid Shadow Legends if you are not a massive spender, endgame whale kraken like myself? And I think this is a great question to ask because, Braun, I don't know about you, but so many people have told me over the years, I hate arena and raid, I hate PvP and raid. And I get it. I get it. Like they're almost always low spender or free to play, and they're just having a bad time. But you have done some free to play stuff and maybe haven't had such a bad time. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to say that it's perfect. And there's difference between having fun and succeeding at Platinum Arena. And we're not talking about succeeding at Platinum Arena, but I got Quintus in 150 days on my free to play, which was mind blowing to me. And to be fair, know that's 100% a change that Polarium made to push people up into gold. But still, I am still with the account that's what, 230 days old-ish, doing okay in live arena and competing and getting 5 wins a day if I want to get 5 wins a day and 10 keys for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly kind of crazy to me to hear because I think about when Live Arena first came out, and obviously everyone was playing the mode that cared about PvP like crazy. Like everyone was on it. And it was, you get up to gold 3, gold 4, it was extremely difficult to get wins if you were not someone who had spent money. So I think as crazy as it sounds, I actually think Plarium has done a better job recently of balancing some of these modes where you are not as likely as you once were to get curb stomped by accounts that have spent $100,000 to $200,000 more than you have. Do you feel that that's accurate? Have you experienced that, or am I off base?
It, it's a little hit or miss at times. For example, during the seasons, matchmaking gets worse the first couple days. It's absolutely atrocious, but I think that's because they're doing it off of the matchmaking indication.
Hmm.
And that's actually probably the only time I really had a really bad time in live arena. I think I had just made it into gold, and I was in gold 1 when the second season started on my free to play, and I was getting curb stomped by people. There was no way around it. I was just it was not going well. But after the first day, it cleared up a little bit. And if I said, okay, fine, I'm done with it for today, came back the next day, wasn't as bad. The next day afterwards, hey, now I'm actually occasionally fighting people that are reasonable. And it's not perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I still find bot accounts in gold, which is weird, but I still find the bot accounts, but they give me a chance to get a win in there. But I'm also finding people that are level 95 or 100 and not, either they don't know how to build their champions right, or maybe they spent some money and they just aren't there, or maybe they're just coming back into the game. But I've been able to outmaneuver them with, exotic champs like Arbiter and Alice. It's not like I'm using particularly exciting champions here, but Yeah, I mean, for the most part, my draft has been Arbiter, Morgaine, Fabian, Ellis, and Tholen are kind of like the 5 I roll with if I can roll with them. I'm using, Ludor, Artex Ludor, the free champion they gave from
Really?
the weird thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, guys. Camera problems per usual on this channel, which what can I say? Being in LA has its downsides. I'm recording off a laptop, and for some reason, this camera does not like staying on. But Bront, take it away. You were in the middle of a great answer. I'm sorry to have cut you
yeah.
off there.
We're using, Lutex, Artor, or whatever the guy's name is, because 'cause he's got a speed aura and he's got some increased speed, and, speed kills in arena, so especially if you're not fighting with a lot of the best champions in the game, you're looking for any speed edge you can get. So if his 25% aura is better than anything else I've got, that's great. I've got a Sun Wukong on the account too, because he was the starting code I started with, but oftentimes I find Arbiter's one of my most important ones. Fabian is just so strong, if for nothing else than he is ban bait most of the time for me because everyone thinks he's strong, so they ban him thinking he's my best champion. And while he, yes, might be my best champion, he's not the only champion I've got in the account. And a lot of it is just what PvP is supposed to be as far as having fun. It is me outmaneuvering my opponent, thinking about what they're going to do, thinking about what they might pick, thinking about how they may have built their champions, figuring out which champions to kick out or, ban, or which ones do I think I have better built than what they have so that I can maximize, what I can do to win. And when it works, it's fun. I'm in plenty of close fights where it's just barely edging out. I know I shared one with you before we started recording this video. I took that team with Tholen and Alice and outmaneuvered a Galathyr and Frolny team.
Yeah,
And
that must have pissed him off. I can tell you that much.
probably, it was just I was impressed, but I managed to beat them on the speed race because I think in fact they drafted Arbiter out from under me. And so I managed to I banned the Arbiter because he didn't have any other speed other than Galathyr, and it was basically me praying that their Galathyr was not as fast as my Morgaine. And my Morgaine's built to like 320 speed for an early account, that's pretty good.
That I was gonna ask
It's
like
just
what your speed was. So it's like your fastest champion. What are they at?
my fastest one's Arbiter, and she's like 335, I want to
So
say. And
not
then I've
game
got a Morgaine
breaking
at three.
speeds by any stretch of the
No,
imagination. Like that's not insane. That's in fact for gold 4, I would consider that very slow, right? You know what I mean? But you're still managing to win
yeah.
battles. Are you winning? Or is it mainly when you win the speed race? Did you ever win when you don't win the speed race?
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem that I have going in with a newer account is I don't have a lot of stone skin gear.
Mm.
So, for example, I recently pulled a Hefrek, and Hefrek, unfortunately, is probably useless for me in Arena right now because the build with Hefrek is to put him in stone skin alongside a UDK, which I actually do have. I pulled a UDK on that account too, so it'd be kind
Wow.
of fun. And then wait for somebody else to die, have Hefrek nuke everyone else, and be done with it. But I don't have the stone skin gear to put him in stone skin, so I can't build that style of team. And if I'm going to take Hefrak in naked, that's just a bad idea. So, nobody wants naked Hefrak,
No one
just
wants that.
no.
It's honestly true.
Um,
I think my own experiences with doing free to play and my free to play account and arena were um it's same thing. Like there are just some builds you can't do until you get the gear. It takes you time to get the gear. That takes sometimes 6 months, a year, whatever, depending on your luck. And then once you have the gear, and if you have certain champions, you can compete with a lot of people. Then there are obviously some accounts, that it doesn't really matter what you do. You're just not going to win. And frankly, like I've always been someone where like, look, it's a pay to win game, whether people want to admit it or not. It's a pay to win game, right? There are definitely strategies that go into it. Now there's a lot more RNG, but like, should a free to play player ever beat someone like Mad Crypto, for example? My answer is hell no. This dude spent over $1 million in this game easily. Do you really think you deserve to beat someone who spent $1 million freaking in the game? I'm curious, where do you stand on that? Because my answer is like I would never expect that, and I certainly didn't expect it on my free to play account. But do you feel differently?
I mean, and this is probably a good way to like we're gonna go back to right around when Taurus Marichka came out and my main account, and I was spending on that, but I maybe spend a few $100 here, a few $100 there. Definitely not the mad money that people were spending. And, I was trying to compete in platinum on that account, and I was just barely edging out not getting into platinum. But I wasn't expecting to get number 1 in platinum. I was kinda hoping to get maybe 450th or something like that. And that's kind of where I feel that the goal should be set at for a lot of these free-to-play accounts or whatever else. That doesn't mean you can't compete at a high level. If you get absolutely lucky, you get the right stuff, you get the right builds, and the stars align, and the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie and all that fun stuff. You know, I don't see why an account can't compete at some higher level. But yeah, I'm not expecting to go into live arena and beat Mad Crypto unless he's throwing the match and only throwing in epics. And even then, his gear's probably so good that I'd probably get minced anyway.
I think you
So
hit on a really important point that I wanted to ask you about and bring up. And I think the biggest key when I was playing free to play arena more frequently, the biggest key to me enjoying it was my expectation level. I knew I was on a free to play account. I knew that Raid specifically is a pay to win game and one of the biggest pay to win games as it concerns PvP that's ever existed. And so my expectation levels were okay, I'm going to go into a battle. I'm probably going to lose the speed race 60 to 70% of the time, but I'm just going to see if I can find a strategy that works. Can I find some kind of strategy that gives me a chance? And that was where I had my fun, was just trying to figure out a strategy that maybe would give me a chance to beat someone that I had no business beating so that I could laugh about it. And a great example of that is what you shared earlier about beating someone with a Galathir. You know what I mean? You should not lose. You should not win that battle most of the time. So do you think that expectation plays a large role in enjoying arena if you're PV, if you're free to play or if you're a low spend?
I think expectation plays a bit of a role into it, but also, and this is not me being elitist when I say this, but there's game knowledge as well with knowing some of this stuff as well. I know the game very well. I know the champions very well, partially because I've been playing forever, partially because I played an end game account. It's just like if I were to hand you my free to play account, you'd look at my champions, maybe change a build or two, and then you could probably go into arena and do the exact same thing because you know that same stuff as well as I do. There are plenty of people that don't. And in some cases, I'm sure I'm beating them in arena, so there's that. But there's also some people that just don't realize that Savage gear is better than putting as much crit damage as you possibly can on a champion, or worse yet, not crit capping your champions, because the worst thing you want in an arena battle is to realize that your champion isn't actually going to critical hit that person when they're trying to nuke them. It just is not going to work out very well. And one of the things I have is I've not, believe it or not, 7 champions in Savage gear on that account, or lethal, that sort of build. Um, I built a Durandil very, very early on in the account, realizing that if I wanted to play in live arena, I needed more than just Alice as my nuker. So I built a Durandil because I certainly wasn't going to bring Kale as my nuker. Durandil did the job for quite a while, and in fact, people underestimated Durandil and would often ban my Alice, leave me my Durandil, and my Durandil would just set them down. Fun champion, certainly not an endgame nuker. And that's, I think, part of the problem that I think a lot of people have finally with dealing with the arena is they look at your content, for example, or they
Mhm.
look at crypto and they see, oh, he's got the nices of the world. I mean, you don't have the nice, I understand that,
Yeah,
but
rubbing it in here, Braun. He's got
yeah,
the
yeah, I'm trying to
nicest,
rub it in
the
here,
one
but
freaking mythical besides Theodosia I don't have. Yeah, yeah, I see you.
you've got these meta champions, the Galathirs, as we talked about, the Creexias, the the burning champions, there's all kinds of different champions out there that are considered meta. And if you don't have them, yeah, you're gonna struggle to compete in the end game. That's part of the spend to win part of it. But it doesn't mean you can't compete in general, because I'm not fighting them all the time when I'm fighting in arena.
Another camera problem, guys, but hey, we're soldiering on, and Bront is not done. Bront, keep it going.
Yep. By the way, if you're gonna actually pay to win, you should pay for a better camera, maybe, but
It's if I'm on a freaking laptop, Bront. I'm on a freaking laptop in LA. Oh my god, that's it. The video's done. That's it. We're
all
done.
right.
Take it
No,
away.
it's yeah, in classic arena, I'm avoiding the bigger, powered teams because I know that I'm going to get outsped. Whereas in live arena, you don't have a choice with it in some cases.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's scary when I can't draft my arbiter, and that's why I built like Ludix, for example, because if I couldn't get my arbiter, sometimes I also couldn't get a monkey king. Then I'm down to a 19% speed aura. I'm probably going to get my Morrigan in because most people aren't adding my Morrigan, but that speed aura is such a huge game shifter for not having a lot of speed. So that's been kind of important. Recently, actually, I think the past 2 or 3 days, I got what's her name? Authoritatrix. Why am I blanking
Lamasu.
on the name?
Yeah.
Lamasu, yes, Lamasu.
How
And
close are you to Marius, by the way? Just out of curiosity on your free to play.
Amari, I'm not even in through the first chapter of
Okay.
the
Okay.
stuff.
That makes me
So
feel better. That makes me feel
yeah.
better.
No, Marius, I'm not close to. I'm probably 2 months out on Empress, but I got Lamasu, and I mean, heck, I got Mithrala before I got Lydia. I got Quintus before I got Lydia. It's just the things are
Wow.
weird in Raid Shadow Legends nowadays. It's just I would have never thought about it. But she's got a speed aura, and she can work as a speed champion because
Yeah.
she can do the if this person goes next because they get 50% extra turn meter.
Yeah.
So
She's
I'm
like a poor
experimenting
man's
using her.
Shuzen, is what I would call Lamasu. She's a
Yeah,
poor man's Shuzen. Like, it's a great example of making it work with a champion that quote unquote everyone can get within reason. It takes time. Like, you have to win, siege battles, so it's not guaranteed. But I think that's like that to me is also the fun part of arena, no matter what level you're at, is there's it like trying to outthink your opponent as much as possible. Again, raid is pay to win. That's always going to be number one. If you're a massive spender, you have a huge advantage. The thing I've always said is like the more money you spend, the more mistakes you can make. Like if you
mhm,
spend a ton of money, you have a lot more leeway on making a mistake. If you haven't, your margin is razor thin. And if you make one strategic mistake, you're probably screwed. And that's even to say if you're able to win a speed race or survive a first hit or whatever else. So yeah, that's a great example of using strategy, right? Like you don't have all the meta speed champions, you don't have a Shuzen on your free to play, but you just got a Lamasu. You can make that work.
and it's also some of it is the strategy of figuring out. I know who's important for me to win versus to who I can replace. I've got Alice and Tholan are my two best nukers because they are the two best 5-star soul nukers that I have on my account. And I made sure I got Tholan's 5-star soul, and I'm so glad I did. He's such a beast. But beyond that, I've got Cleopteryx. I built a Cleopteryx because I
Wow.
pulled one and I needed another nuker, and she was an upgrade from Durandil, and she's been helpful. And honestly, I still use her in other content, even though she's not in a great build. I've got Quintus, and unfortunately, he's not a great PvP nuker, but he's my PvP nuker occasionally, dang it. And so I've got him built. So I know I'm good for nukers. So if you steal nukers from me, I'm not worried about it. That means Arbiter is my first pick, pretty much hell or high water. Next is Fabian, because almost everybody did the Fabian. Fabian is a great in arena.
Hmm.
And if I have Fabian, I don't have to ban yours. So very, very helpful there. And Sun Wukong is great because of the aura, but my Sun Wukong is not built super well compared to my Alice, compared to my Tholan. So Sun Wukong is a little further down, and because he's also super prevalent, he gets drafted out from under me. So realizing that, I've just kind of given up on getting a Sun Wukong most of the time. And that's the type of thing that you make a strategy for. But
Yeah.
a lot of my strategy too is based around the fact that, 3v3 exists and I didn't want to suck at it. So I made sure I could build three different viable arena teams. And as a result, I now have lots of arena champions to pull from when I'm doing live arena.
Hmm. Interesting. Have you seen free regearing help you at all in terms of enjoying arena? Has that been impactful for you?
Not yet, but I think that is going to be soon. And I think that's a lot of it is because I can now actually look at a couple of champions and say, maybe it's time to get this piece of gear off of somebody or move this piece of gear around here when I wasn't doing that beforehand because it was a bit of a problem. And I think the other thing that I think is going to slowly but surely change, and this is probably something I need to change on my main too, is I'm so used to having to have so many of these champions built. Again, going back to these 7 champions in Savage,
Yeah.
Well, I probably could get away with only 5 now and condense my gear to be slightly better overall. That would probably be an upgrade to the account, probably something I should actually look at doing. But that also means that I'm gonna be juggling gear constantly. So there's always the how
Yeah.
much do I wanna tolerate juggling gear and make sure that my champions are geared when I wanna use them versus not. So, it's kinda hit or miss with that. So, I don't wanna be I don't like switching gear around constantly, and I don't wanna have a situation where I don't have a champion geared because I'm switching it around. So, that's a balance that I'm still learning, and I think a lot of us are learning here in Raid. But I think that also it's going to help me where I can look at my champions and rather than it's too expensive to try to regear them, I can now be constantly looking at, hey, I just rolled a really nice piece. Let's get 5 more speed on my Arbiter, for example,
Yeah.
or get this other speed here on somebody else, or maybe even be willing to steal a piece on another champion and take something off of an arena champion occasionally that I might not have wanted to do beforehand. It's made less champions untouchable, I think,
Mm.
and overall, I think as the account grows, I think that's gonna be room for growth on especially on early game accounts where, yeah, you are limited for gear.
Yeah, you are. You are. You make a good point. Like just being able to know that you can take a piece of gear off lets you tinker with people more, even if you're not using tons of presets, which frankly I'm not yet. I need to sit down and do all that stuff, and I'll do that at some point whenever I return to streaming. But yeah, I think that's a really valid point. Just such a good change to give the free regearing, especially for PvP stuff. I do think it will help people to enjoy that aspect of the game more. And speaking of, by the way, guys, I really want to hear in the comments down below from those of you who are low spenders, mid spenders, free to play players, whatever. One, does free regearing help you enjoy Arena more? Two, do you enjoy Arena at all? Classic Arena, Live Arena, Siege, whatever, or do you hate all of it? So I would really love to hear where you stand on those things. I guess the bottom line on like, do you enjoy Arena more on your free to play account or do you enjoy it more on your spend account?
It's a different and I
Mm,
can't say one or the other, honestly. I think it's a very different experience, and I enjoy both of them. It is more satisfying on my free to play because I am so limited and I am often going up against slightly better accounts, and I know they're slightly better accounts because ideally anybody who is 10 levels higher than I am in Raid should have a better account than I have in theory.
sure.
So there's a lot of that pride of, I can down these people, I know what I'm doing versus the the cat and mouse game of an end game account where okay, I've got my 25 live arena champions, of which maybe 15 of them are meta and the other 10 are niche, but I can use them in some areas. You know, on my main account, I can pull out a Hegemon that's built with Stone Cleaver, for example, because I've got the opportunity to do so. He almost never sees the light of day, but it's an opportunity I have that I
Yeah.
don't on the free to play. So it gives me much more depth to think about that sort of thing. So it's a different game and it's a different way of thinking things. But yeah, it is nice to not be bound by the meta in many ways. And the meta literally is who's the best champion on my account because they're going to be getting some time. You're in there, go.
Yeah, it's a very
Um,
different meta when you're free to play low spend. Like, what do I actually have that
well,
works?
do you know who I
You know,
used to great effect in Live Arena early on?
who is that?
Geomancer.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a sneaky pick. I could see that working. I could see that
He
working.
100 he has a shutdown, 100% turn meter steal, so it's an instant shutdown on somebody else,
Yep.
and then everyone else is doing damage back to them as well, so I can basically what I'd use it to lock out their nuker, and if they couldn't get their nuker back to going around in time, or if they had other support nukers that would basically kill their nuker for me,
Hmm.
it was great.
Yeah.
Plus, he could also strip buffs on his A2
Yep.
and just, is 2 things I never would have thought of would have been super useful, and Geomancer was so clutch for a long time, and he never got banned because 'cause who'd ban a
Yeah. Who's
Geomancer? I
banning a
mean, think
geomancer?
about it,
Super rare. Like the only
you
thing
know?
to that is, and this is where like the longer you play, the more advantage you have, of course, is does someone have stone skin? Do they have a an immunity set or a feral set that makes it so that you can't put that burn up? I mean, at the same time, you can still turn meter, of course, if they're in that, but at this, you can't still turn meter if they're in
Actually, the
stone
other way
skin.
around, you can burn them if they're under stone skin, you can't
Yes.
steal turn meter
Yes,
from
you can
them,
burn
but
them under stone skin. You can't steal the turn meter. So it's, you're trying to play around whatever you have.
Yeah.
I would say that the biggest thing that I enjoyed about free to play was, like you said, you have to work with what you got. There is very, very, very little flexibility in terms of you're not going to have a ton of champions. We both know Raid has an insane amount of champions that are hard to get. You're probably not going to have god tier champs. And like on my free to play account, my strategy a lot of the times was just like yours. I was busting out Alice because she had a
Mhm.
sick cooldown, so she could do a lot of different stuff, and she does good damage. And then, funny enough, one of the champions that I used a lot on my free to play account that I actually think is underrated for Arena was Thor. I was busting out
Yep.
Thor because I could kill through unkillables. You know what I mean? I had the
Yeah, I was
ability
actually
to
gonna
go
say
through that.
Thor's a menace to me because anyone who has Thor has been playing long enough to have gotten him and probably has a soul on him, and
Yep.
Thor just outright can nuke through a lot of the protections you might have otherwise,
Yes.
and just is an absolute beast of a champion.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I've always believed that you can have fun in PvP in raid no matter what level you're at. I will say my take is this. I have more fun on my ultra spend account? Actually no. In fact, I talked about this in a previous video where the thing that people don't realize is when you get higher and higher and higher in arena, RNG plays a larger and larger and larger effect. And there is nothing more frustrating than becoming a sheep or getting a wand or all this other stuff that you're going to get constantly at the high end of arena that you don't run into the lower down you are. The higher up you get, the more you're going to run into that. The lower you are, the less likely it's going to be that someone has 4 wands on all of their champions, plus every piece of god tier gear that could ever exist, or everyone's 6-star polymorph, or whatever else. And so there was a time there where I was like, honestly, I think I'm having more fun playing the low level arena stuff, playing my free to play account in PvP than I am on my main account because I don't have to worry about this insane RNG compromising my strategies to the same level. So that was the big thing for me where I was like, I don't know. I kind of enjoy the low level stuff more than I do the high end.
Yeah, and I think there's one other thing that helps with that too, is that at the high end, there's a lot of the personal pride, the personal, "I'm invested in this, I've spent money for this" type of stuff too. Whereas with a free to play where you're just kind of in the masses, brawling it out and having fun with 2 random people, you get a matchup where you're outmatched, you lose, and of course, here's the thing, live arena, it's built for you to lose about 50% of the time.
Yep.
So, if you're not built to understand that, that's already a negative for live arena for you.
And 100% of the time, I'm going to have camera problems. Anyway, Braun, go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah. If you get used to losing 50% of the time, there's nothing wrong with it. You're going to lose occasionally. If the arena's balanced properly, you should be losing occasionally. But you've got less on the line for your free to play. It's not personal. I mean, yeah, it's a little personal because you're fighting an arena,
Yep.
but you can detach yourself enough from it from a pride perspective and whatever else that I think it's just a little more fun for you
Yep.
because those victories mean something to you and those losses don't in many cases. You can kind of just brush them off and say, yeah, I was going to lose to that guy with the Galathir and the Nice that he trots out and just one shots my, when his
Yeah.
Galathir is one shotting my Thor, there's not much I can do about it. So,
Dude, that is so true, man. When you haven't spent a ton of money, there's so much less pressure to expect to win. I don't know. So anyway, we're gonna have to cut it short here because believe it or not, Braun, I have to run to the gym. It's like 6 o'clock here at LA. It's a Saturday, but you know what? Your boy still grinds, Bront. He's on that health grind. But this was such a fun conversation. What a really good topic. A big thank you to you for coming up for it, by the way. Any last thoughts you have?
um, get a better camera.
Gosh,
But,
it's not
no,
the camera, it's the laptop.
no, seriously, we're not telling you that you have to enjoy live arena. Some people are not going to enjoy live arena regardless because it's not their cup of tea, and that's fine.
Yep.
But if you open yourself up to the right headspace of this can be interesting, this can be a fun chess match, this can be a way for me to think about stuff. It doesn't feel like it's this huge time grind. It doesn't feel like this huge sink where you don't have time to do it. And it'll actually kind of fun and you'll kind of enjoy it. And suddenly you'll find that, hey, I'm getting those 5 wins daily all the time. And the rewards are actually pretty good. I mean, my free to play, I did really well on the Hell Hades free to play challenge. And the gear that I got, specifically the intercept gear, I believe it is,
Yeah.
that gives you the reset skills and the
Yeah.
speed, so clutch on the account.
It's
And
good.
so, you get some good stuff if you're willing to put up with it for a little while. And I think you'll find if you spend a little bit of time investing in it, you'll find it enjoyable. And if you don't invest in it, you're not going to find it enjoyable.
There you go. There you go. This was a fun one. Guys, let us know again in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. This is a really interesting topic. I think it's a hot button topic because so many people that aren't spenders do absolutely hate PvP and raid. And to be completely honest, like I said, I understand why, because lots of other games are significantly less pay to win than raid is. But we have what we have, like, and that's not going to change because that's the model of this game. So, Bront, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Again, make sure to check out Bront's channel. I'm gonna link it down below. Thanks for sitting through the camera problems. I swear to God, trying to record a video nowadays is damn near impossible. So, a big thank you to you, the viewers, for watching. If you're still watching at the end of here, put the word camera in the comments down below, along with your answers to those things. I want to see how many people watched the entire thing in spite of the camera issues. And a big thank you to Bront for the patience, because I think we had 4 different camera crashes. You know, what can I say? I'm an elite content creator, Bront. Elite.
Hey, we're having fun talking Raid Shadow Legends. That's the important part. Appreciate you having me on. You guys are absolutely awesome out there. Hit that like button and subscribe button for him as well if you can.
There you go. And join the Discord. That's the new thing I need to start shouting out at the beginning of my videos. Join the Discord. I want you in there. So there's a link for that down below as well. But anyway, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Big Papa Drock and Bront Cat Herder, and we are out.